he ever gets written down anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Oswald is just an assassin. And America has had many assassins that took swipes at presidents. That he's not that distinct, except that he took like a really far shot, which was impressive, and really just killed the guy. And it was a fairly successful assassination attempt.
Do you think it was Lee Harvey Oswald?
Yes.
You do? Okay.
I also think there's a good chance that one of the Secret Service, one of the cops there accidentally fired at somebody. I think someone accidentally also got shot in the crossfire.
You know, often the guy who shot, who was it? Was it tried to open fire on Reagan? One of my classmates was her dad was in the Secret Service at the time, and he basically, they came in for an hour to tell us about what they do in the Secret Service, and it's really super cool. We're in grade school, and he had said that on that day, the formation that they were supposed to be, how they were supposed to be surrounding that president was not, they not every man was in place. And so this guy just so happened to open fire when, he kind of had, he was lucky. He was able to pull out a firearm and do it just because they weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing. Anyway, shit happens.
Yeah, I'll tell you what it is. Obviously, I'm willing to give them a chance to rectify themselves, but I will say the official US narrative typically is a little it's just a little shady, you know what I mean? It just seems a little shady, you know what I mean? Down to all the way back
as opposed to the English narrative.
No, I'm saying down to what we were talking about Vietnam.
זה אומר להפסיק להיות פוליטיקאים בתוך הבית. רוב הגברים בחוץ אנחנו אריות, בבית נמרים הולכים מתחת לשולחן. אבל האמת היא שגם בבית לא צריכים ללכת על ביצים. הרבה גברים נוהגים לשקר, שקרים קטנים, לשמור על שקט תעשייתי, נהיים פוליטיקאים, מעגלים פינות וכו' וכו' וכו'. אתם יודעים, אנשים מרגישים, גם הנשים שלנו מרגישות, זה כמו איזה פוליגרף אנושי כזה, ומרגישות שאנחנו משקרים להם. ואין פה אמון. אז עשית איזשהו צעד לא נכון, צעד כלכלי, או אז אתה מתבייש, פחד להגיד לה לא. אתה לא ילד שפחד מאמא שלו. אנחנו לא ילדים שפחדים מאמא שלהם. אנחנו צריכים להיות גבר ולעמוד, ובאמת להודות בטעויות שלנו, ולהגיד וואלה פישלתי, וואלה אני מפחד. זה לא חולשה, נהפוך הוא, זה חוזקה. ברגע שאנחנו מורידים את המסכה ומפסיקים לחרטט את האישה, היא תסמוך עליך בעיניים עצומות, ותרגיש את זה, שאתה בן אדם אמיתי, שאתה מדבר איתה לב אל לב. אז המשימה שלנו להשבוע זה להפסיק להסתתר, בטלפון על השולחן, הלב על השולחן, בלי קודים ובלי סודות. אמון. להיות אמיתיים, להיות גברים אמיתיים, ולא להיות ילד של אימא.
Yeah.
Correct. In fact, incentivizes that we not put the tiger, or we should say the bear. Even against a tyrannical dictator that's oppressing the citizens.
They are a nuclear threat, but it's
they're all kinds of threat. More than North Korea.
That they're militarily just a conventional war, not nuclear war. I mean, Europe alone would be able to steamroll them. They have a very poorly trained military.
Steamroll them and do what?
Well, that's the thing.
Abandon the territory during the mud season they have over there?
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants to stay there, clearly. But in other words...
Great, so we're leaving it with the crazy tyrant. Good to know.
Well, yeah, but of course the nuclear, he can obviously cause a lot of hurt.
Hey, he's never going to do that. We all know that.
Yeah.
Okay. If his life was on the line, we don't know what kind of life.
This is what I need.
I'm not gonna gamble that.
I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. There's no honor among thieves. The guy's been stealing from the world and his countrymen for years. You really think he's not going to just press a button out of spite?
Yeah. We're not sure about it.
He would to be resisted and deterred. There isn't any question about this. He is testing us, and we need to respond with equal force. If he's being subversive, if he's sabotaging the electrical grid, then we need to do that back to him. If he's got spy boats off the coast of Britain like he did 2 weeks ago, then we need to push back against that. Wherever he's pushing, we need to push back harder.
But you want to destabilize the state enough for the people to rise up against and then fill the hall for blood.
Not at all. We should definitely be in touch with the elite. What I'm saying is that we should deter him with an equally forceful response. This is what Biden should have done when he had those conversations with Putin in 2022 before the war started. He should let Putin know that we're going to respond in kind.
Hey, El Normo, excuse me, is this a Bolsheviki meeting? What's going on here?
Yeah, Putin can just go fuck He already has Belarus as a proxy.
He's got a bunch of them around him. Armenia and Georgia and even Chechnya has been co-opted.
You can't.
got some form of popularity, enough popularity in order to justify a war like this, he's not just going to do it for no reason. Like, the people are not going to be on board with that. Of course,
They're not on board, by the way.
I'm saying that the reason that they are to the extent that they are is because he's trying to restore it. I'm agreeing with you. He's trying to restore it. I'm not arguing for you. No, I'm saying. You never mind.
I mean, that country is small demographically. Not only do they have abysmal birth rates, but they have a net migration out of Russia. The young people, there's not much opportunity for them there. And all of the Russians that have any kind of like talent for education, they find opportunities elsewhere.
That's totally right.
And so, but that was kind of part of the calculus where it was, many people could theorize this could happen, that in the early 2020s, Russia would make a move, because that's when they still have at least enough people, young men that they can, throw into war.
They're hemorrhaging, and he's broken the economy.
It's like 1 million casualties so far. It's pretty horrendous.
I hear they're even using like North Koreans and stuff.
Yeah, they use tens of thousands of them. It's my understanding they were bleeding out the ethnic minorities first, or a lot of them. They're going into the further out into Asia, in a lot of the small places, and rounding up the young men.
So where I live in Maine,
I thought this from the beginning. Let them keep the Donbass and the Crimea, and draw the line there,
I've
and
been
then kick
trying
their
to
ass.
get Nora to create an apology video. What do you think, Diego? I think it's a great move on her behalf.
The parents work with
It has to be the policy.
we brought their empire down with peaceful strength and opposition.
That's because you've never probably
strong
apologized for
defense.
anything.
I'm pretty naive, but when they
Well, I'm just
stopped
saying
being
because
communists,
it's-
when the communist system
and you
fell,
have two of me.
why did we still consider them enemies? Why did we keep NATO pointed at them?
We didn't at first, Michaela. We
Well, we
didn't
had
at first.
NATO.
We didn't at first.
We
at
had
first-
NATO. We didn't
Yes, we had-
dissolve NATO.
NATO was not only directed at Russia, as we saw in Iraq. We literally tried to welcome them into the family of nations. There was a period of almost a decade, I think, in which they were part of the financial system. We
looted them. They got looted.
We had by their own oligarchs looted them. We had free press over there. You forget. We had Americans going.
Okay, well, we could have kept NATO. Why didn't we take the nukes down? Why
Because they didn't get rid of their nukes. They didn't get rid of their nukes.
Why didn't we do a treaty to disarm? I think
Because they weren't willing to do it. India
I
has
think maybe
nukes.
they
China
were.
has nukes. Everybody has nukes.
No. Russia. Why did we stop? Why didn't we stop aiming our nukes at them?
Well, we have our nukes aimed at every other nuclear power.
How about not aiming it at Russia?
I don't know.
There's too many countries. You have Australia, France, Germany, the UK,
Well, that's all I'm saying.
China, India, Pakistan. In other words, we have to have nukes pointed at everybody else that has nukes.
Fine. How about we don't?
And Russia
point
is
it
not
at
going
Russia?
to be willing to.
I think they might have been.
No, I don't know. No.
I think so.
But
I think they proposed it.
hold on. So you're saying, Mikhail, that we shouldn't or we shouldn't have?
We should have
She's saying give peace a
negotiated
chance.
taking our nukes.
Norm, just
Stop
give me a second.
having a bilateral nuclear disarmament type thing, or at least stop pointing our nukes
So you're
at
saying
each other. Do we point our nukes at Britain? We point
No,
our
they're
nukes
allies.
at Venezuela?
They're
We
allies.
point our nukes at.
I believe we have maps that, if I recall correctly, I think we do point our nukes at everywhere.
Do we?
Sure.
Okay.
But
We can retarget.
okay, Mikhail, so with that being said, what should we do now?
Now, I think that we should agree to not have them ever join NATO.
What's that?
Ukraine.
Why should we agree?
because that was sort of the promise, a verbal promise at first, not to have NATO move farther.
Okay, so do you think that Russia just if
I
if
love
we-
the story that this started.
No, please let me finish.
Because of NATO, the threat to have Ukraine join NATO.
I'm not trying to play the gotcha or anything like that.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if I've ever talked to you on here.
Right.
Maybe I have a lifetime ago. My question to you is, if the United States says, okay, we're going to sign a treaty saying that Ukraine never ever joins NATO. Do you think just Russia just packs up and goes home and that's
no? I don't know what to do now. It's a tragedy that it started. I think
okay, but you're saying that
it could have been prevented.
Correct. You're damn right. It could have been prevented. It should have been prevented. But I'm saying, what do we do now? And your response was, we need to prevent it.
I don't know. Maybe tell them I don't know. Maybe acknowledge that NATO was a part. The problem of NATO was a part of this.
What? How do you mean?
The problem of us of Ukraine moving towards joining NATO. You know, the powers, NATO powers. You know, sort of grooming them and trying to get them there. I think that at least acknowledging that.
And you think that would have prevented Russia from invading them?
Yeah, I think it would have. And maybe I'm buying their propaganda, but that's you know, that's what it looked like to me.
They only
we didn't want them to be aligned. We didn't want Ukraine to be aligned with Russia. Who was the president they elected, or you know that they got rid of? What with the Maidan or whatever? Maybe it's because I'm a big nuclear disarmament person.
That guy was put there basically by Putin. Was basically running Ukraine as a proxy state, and there was naturally a lot of tension between the Ukrainians and the Russians. The former Soviet states fucking hate Russia, for obvious reasons, and they did not want Russia being in control of them.
So they wanted to have join NATO, and I guess Russia wanted Ukraine to remain not to align with the EU or with NATO, and this is the result. They wanted to.
We were considering having Russia into NATO, Michaela. You realize that?
Yeah, that would. I think Russia.
Sorry.
I believe they asked to join NATO at one point. I think that when the Soviet Union fell, I think that we didn't take advantage of trying to realign things.
We did. We really tried. We were close too. And then the oligarchs took over and turned it into a kleptocracy.
Okay. And they took over with the help from the West, I'm sure,
No.
No, it was actually, and if you look at it, Putin actually did, one of the things he did do that was good at first is he pulled in on the reins of the oligarchs, and he did not play games with them, and he would publicly put them on trial. And everybody knew that deep down, this guy will get you fucking killed, and you don't play with Putin.
Well, it's good.
But Putin also, his personal view is that what the U.S. did to push for the fall of the Soviet Union was a great travesty.
It's the greatest tragedy in history, according to him.
Yes, and
That's
so
what he said.
he's really not our ally.
Well, I think it's subtle, I think it's subtle. I just.
What do you mean it's subtle? I don't understand.
Well, I think you guys probably know the details more than I. But when he says that's the greatest tragedy, I think maybe you could pull his words apart a bit there and maybe not interpret.
Well, what is it that you guys are missing? You do realize that this is a major conflict that's been going on for 20 years now.
This guy is stringing this on YouTube. Music guy, I'd get rid of him.
He may be, but he's an okay guy, and it doesn't matter. Nobody really watches it anyway. It's his thing. He's a good guy.
Yeah. You guys probably know the history better than I do, except that I've perked up on certain points that I think that that who knows why we didn't stop, withdraw our nuclear. And see, if they had joined NATO, there'd be nukes right on the border of Russia, and then you have the launch on warning stuff and all that stuff.
You have nukes on the border of Russia. We've always had nukes on the border of Russia.
Right, but
There's nukes in Turkey.
maybe closer to the capital or something.
What does that matter?
I mean, we have them. It's no secret. We have nuclear submarines.
Correct.
Right. They can go.
I was gonna say, didn't we just? Granted, it wasn't a nuclear strike, but didn't we just remember the strike on Iran? Like, we conducted that entire.
That wasn't nuclear.
I know that's why I literally prefaced what I said by saying, I know it wasn't nuclear, but we did the entire thing without not even a shot getting fired at one of our airplanes. I'm pretty sure if we wanted to put nukes in Moscow, we could do it.
Oh, yeah, but it's the time that it would take, and when you have it closer to Moscow, that the time for reaction is shorter, and you got to do launch on warning stuff.
Well, this doesn't matter. As soon as the chain of command for who will get the nuclear codes. If any part of Russia is hit, in other words, we do not have the ability to launch nukes, at least that I know of, where they will not get several minutes at the minimum notice, in which they'll just launch all of their shit.
Right now, but if it's closer to the border, they have it makes it more hair trigger.
I don't think so, because they have launch sites all over Russia, and so it's going to take varying times. First of all, the landmass of that country is fucking enormous, and so they would still have nukes to launch.
And that's the reason we have. We have an interest in taking over Ukraine, or not taking over Ukraine, but having part of NATO.
I don't know. I mean, I was involved in the nuclear freeze campaign years ago, and I looked at a lot of this. Yeah, were you? Were you really?
Of course. I marched. Yes.
Well, I was an organizer. I was sent out into the community and to watch.
What changed your mind? Reality?
And we did. And we
did
disarm. By the way, we had the SALT treaties.
That's right.
Reality.
It had an effect.
Did China start a nuke buyback?
But I always thought, when the campaign was over in California, I asked the head. I was constituent organizer. I asked the head guy. I said, "What are we going to do next?" And he says, "Oh, and the Cold War." And I laughed at him. And then the Cold War, and then Russia falls a few years later. And I think, okay, the Cold War is over. Come on. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Why did it keep going when Russia fell? Why did the Cold War keep going? Hello? Anybody hear me?
Did you ask the question?
I understand.
Yeah.
I was away from the phone. What did you say?
Yeah. I said, why did the Cold War keep going? That was sort of the dream of the nuclear freeze campaign, is, okay.
Why did it keep going? Because Russia does not want to disarm. That's the only reason.
Well, I don't think that's completely true.
Okay, but what's the basis of you not thinking that?
This is where in the middle of all of this, I got married and had kids, so I didn't keep up with all the details. That's why I'm asking you. But because I was involved at that point, at the beginning, I was aware of certain nuclear strategies and all that stuff. So I'm asking you, why did the Cold War keep going? I've heard that Putin did offer to join NATO at one point, and I've heard, the stuff about him,
North Korea has never agreed to be a part of the Community of Nations. China and Russia are not willing. They're not like us. They're not run by rule of law. They don't believe in democracy. I just want to make it clear. They want to conquer more land. They want to conquer the world. These are true facts about it. They're not like us. They don't believe in rule of law, global commons, democracy.
You're talking about China and North Korea, right?
China, North Korea, and Russia.
And Russia. Okay. See, that's what I'm not so confident in.
Okay, but
You know,
I mean,
Talk
Putin's
to some Russians. They'll
I
tell
don't
you
think
what's
they
going
want
on.
to conquer the world.
They do. They do.
Russia?
Russia. Yes.
Russia is
He's
trying
advancing on. He's advancing on Europe right now.
That way you can monitor drug use. But when you suffered from a
Ukraine,
with
that's
massive
it.
addictions like that,
Ukraine is in Europe. And they
Ukraine
have
used to be
cycles,
part of Russia.
Excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. Ladies and gentlemen, Michaela, can I just, I know you were an organizer. You don't want to hear my voice? You just want to project? Well, El Normo, is the
Don't be rude or
moderator.
mean to her. Don't be rude or
I'm
mean.
not. I'm
Okay,
not.
good. Okay, good.
I was going to be mean and rude to you, but Michaela, what I'm trying to say is, as an organizer of the anti-nuclear movement, I mean, do you think that you have yet to fulfill your goals and objections? No.
No. And it's probably really pie in the sky at this point.
but let's jump back.
Wait, Ben, hold on one sec. El Norma, I was going to ask you a question. I know you said you did many trips on behalf of USAID, the now shut down and disgraced agency. What were your goals and objections? I know you said you made boatloads of money and it was a fantastic experience. Did you reach your objectives?
Yeah, they wanted me to get a certain person elected, and we did. We got a certain person elected. And along the way, I taught them democratic media techniques. I was like their journalism consultant. I went from 60 Minutes to former Yugoslavia, and we started a news magazine just like 60 Minutes over there. They'd never done that before.
Do you think you were working?
And I used to huh?
Do you think you were working for Soros?
No, we were actually the competition to Soros. Soros was all over there. He had these Open Society Foundation storefronts everywhere. The only two employers, there was no economy. The only two employers were Soros and the U.S. government. I was the U.S. government. Like first we had like armor and everything. So black jackets and everything. I have to go on mute for a little bit. I'll come back in 5 minutes.
Michaela, you don't think that Putin wants to take over Europe or restore the Soviet Union? My assertion is he wants to restore the former Soviet Union.
Yeah, maybe, but he doesn't want to take over Europe.
So do you think the United States should intervene in any way if he wants to restore the former Soviet Union?
I don't know. I'm asking you guys this. I mean, I was involved in that early.
Yeah, very much so. Yes.
Well, if he wants to, what other countries would that involve?
I don't know. Let's pull up a map of the former Soviet Union.
I think it's Greater Russia. I don't know if that would include. It would probably include like Estonia, Lithuania, Belarus, of course Ukraine. I don't know about Poland.
Not Poland.
What else?
Possibly Georgia.
Ukraine, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Lithuania, Kazakhstan, Belarus, Armenia.
Well, that's different from the Russian Empire. Slightly different.
So Pepe, I got a question for you.
Uzbekistan's relationship with the Soviet Union right now.
Pepe, you could Google that. Pepe, why were you crashing out in Issa's room last night, intoxicated? And why did you get kicked to the goo? And why did you get so emotionally upset over getting kicked to the
I'm
goo?
gonna leave it if he starts this kind of stuff and broadcasting it on YouTube.
So
I'm leaving.
music, we're actually
Yeah.
in conversation here, but if we could just do that, that would be cool. Nope, I guess everybody left.
3:00 in the afternoon. I didn't have anything to drink, dude. What the fuck you're talking about?
You usually don't know what I'm talking about.
No, because Elle was trying to butt into a conversation and yelled at, I don't know, virtue signal, and I told her she didn't know what she was talking about. And then somebody had demodded me, which you're not supposed to do in her room. And then after I was demodded, she said, "Oh, well, I'm going to speak, and you're going to let me speak, and if you interrupt even once, I'm kicking you the fuck out." And I said, "Dude, this isn't your fucking room." And then she goes, "Watch me kick you out." And I called her some fucking names. Like, don't.
Who was that? Who did that?
Elle. Like, you don't demod people.
Oh, Elle is very tough.
Yeah, but you do not demod people in a room and then bully them and say you're gonna shut the fuck up and it basically talking to me like a little kid. Like, how dare she? I don't.
She's tough. But
yeah, but I know you do not. But you do not do that. There's a way we behave in here. You do not demod somebody and then threaten to kick them out. You just don't do that.
That is Issa's rule. But again, if you bump into a woman like that, it's better not to antagonize them, in my view.
No, I was overhearing. We were basically having a conversation. I was saying, and I think Ralphie was getting triggered because he wasn't understanding what I was saying. But I was saying how, when they were talking about it had to do with anti-Semitism, I said, look, before America in particular, Jews could never totally assimilate because their religion in particular, they'd have to get rid of it. They're going to stand out from the population.
Why?
Different foods, different diets.
About different food. Everybody eats different food.
Well, sure. So, in other words, they can otherize you. They'll look at you as foreign. Now, you can civically be, assimilated. However, kind of like how,
Pepe.
There's different religious minorities here that also kind of stand out.
Pepe, I hate to
The
break
whole
the.
point of America is tolerance of difference.
Yes, and that's why I said pre-America.
Oh, pre-American. I'm sorry.
Yes, that's what I was, and that's what I was.
I get you.
And I was saying you had these.
What is he talking? No, Pepe. You had
largely ethnically homogenous places where.
Pepe.
Yes, if you take Saturday off instead of Sunday, you eat at different places than the rest of the people because of your dietary concerns. Some of your people will dress differently. They're going to think of you as somewhat foreign. People are. Oh my God! No.
Go ahead, gentlemen. Fix this guy's brain.
No, that's absolutely true. Why were they always otherized? I mean, they were looked at as different from the
maybe the Hasidic people with their garb, but if I took off Saturday instead of Sunday, or I ate kosher, no one gave me a hard time in the 35 years of employment. No one looked at me side-eye. They didn't have a secret code. They were like, "Ooh, there goes the Jew."
No, we're talking about pre-America in Europe.
One of the oldest synagogues is in New York City. I mean, it was well integrated. George Washington was integrated with the Jews. It was. Oh, they were.
Why are we talking? No, we're talking pre-United States.
Pepe, hold on, gentlemen.
How the Pilgrims wanted to make Hebrew the language of the colony. Tell me that's
Pepe. Pepe, this is just.
No,
hold on. Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Because Pepe is.
People are history in Europe before United States.
Right, but that wasn't because of us. That was because of the people who said you can only live in ghettos.
I was not claiming it was because of Jews. I'm saying that there. I don't know why I even have to say this. We're Jews not looked at as fucking foreigners throughout most of Europe's history. Like, yes,
you think
they otherized Jews
for differences?
Yes,
that's true.
Exactly,
that's true.
No, see, gentlemen.
And they were taking it as
if I can actually.
Were hostile people for the people that couldn't.
No, Pepe is not right, gentlemen. If I can interject and actually. I will go on mute, but I'm asking the moderators point of moderation to put me in the queue, please.
Okay, go, John.
Go, yeah, you can talk.
In Europe, we're never considered European. Germans, like Russians, you look in the birth certificate of Jews in Russia, does it say Russian? No, it says Evray. They were never considered as one of the European people when they were living in Europe. Pepe's right about this. And when
Wrong.
they look at Soviet Union, they tried to strip them. What did they try to do to the Jews in Soviet Union? They targeted the religious Jews to strip them from their religion. They wanted Jews to not be religious. That was their problem. They wanted Jews to assimilate. Jews, they never looked at Jews as one of them. And it's just...
Gentlemen, again, point of moderation. If I can speak, please. The point of the matter is Jewry, whether intellectual, hyper-religious, hyper-political, etc., regardless, when you violate the law and you murder somebody or you and your rights are trampled upon, that's all that matters. Pepe is essentially saying nothing because all of human history is either a violation of that sacred law of violence or not. And so thus what Pepe is saying is really nothing. And I rest my case.
Don't make it personal, John. Don't make it personal.
Well, I would say this. Europeans killed each other of different ethnic groups and religions for having less differences than they had with Jews. But Jews were always a minority. It's not like a fight between Prussians and Germans where, both of them had sizable populations and countries they called home. Jews were always the vulnerable, different people.
I don't even know what a Prussian is. What's the difference between a Prussian and a... What is
It's the same thing.
I don't fucking know. They had different identities. I don't know why, what they were.
Well, Pepe, you probably can't even tell the difference between a German and an Austro-Hungarian. Like, what makes an Austro-Hungarian a...
That I can.
Hungarians speak a language isolated.
I know, but it was an empire. It was a separate empire, the Austro-Hungarian Empire. What made that different from the German Empire?
Hungarians are different from... They're kind of unique.
But what makes them Austro? What is Austro?
That's the Habsburg, John. That's the Habsburg Empire. That's those rulers, those monarchs created that empire. Austria-Hungary.
Well, I'm being facetious because, obviously in America, in our bubble, we have no concept of royalty, let alone most of these royals got wiped out, but they're not really gone. They're still there.
Yeah, largely. I mean, they're represented by the British monarchy, by the way.
The thing, when you look at the history of, so Jews were able to, for, a couple thousand years, maintain their religion, and largely their ethnicity. Whereas if you look at most of Europe, they're ethnically a lot different than they were 2,000 years ago. You had all of these different ethnicities that ended up basically mixing with each other and forming, let's say, the modern day French. It's, in other words, because they didn't have that difference, they could assimilate through basically just wholly adopting each other's cultures and mixing. Whereas, obviously Jews can't do that, or they'll cease to exist.
Pepe, let me ask you something. How do you prioritize your communication? Like what you think about, what you talk about, what you transmit, what kind of conversations you engage in? Like, how do you...
Who am I talking to and what we're talking about?
That's AI, John.
Well, my point is you pick and choose what you listen to, what you look at, what you say. And so I'm just saying in the grand scheme of things, I'm not trying to be rude here, but like how long and how much the rest of your life do you think you're going to still talk about the same topics? Because to me, the debates are pretty much over. The conversations are pretty much complete.
Debates about what?
about what you like to talk about. That's all I'm saying.
What do I talk about? I barely make rooms anymore. What are you talking about? That is something I'm interested in, like cultural differences. Yeah, it's not. It's not. I don't mean through like judgment of cultures. But I mean, I'm actually like very curious about people that are different.
Got it.
I seek to understand them.
Well, my point is there's this thing called the library or a book club, which is essentially what you just described. However, it comes from books as opposed to having casual conversations with a bunch of strokers on a fucking free chat app. you know. So my point is the academic version called the library of this fucking stupid waste of time app is the real treasure
Why are you
pals.
on here recording all day?
I'm surrounded by a library.
You're always in rooms by yourself on here. I don't know what you're talking about.
I know you like to make this claim that
Pepe.
you think that meditation or concentration, aka being alone, is like a negative thing, but I assure you, Pepe, that's actually where you need to go.
But you're listening to chatter all day with other people talking. Like I don't get it.
Are you sure about
You
that?
say that the stupid people or talk to stupid people, that all you do is listen to stupid people and stream them to nobody. So
Guys,
why do you do that?
Do you mind? I'm going to end.
Yeah, go ahead.
I take full responsibility for making everybody leave.
Oh. I get roasted by Pepe. Getting roasted by Pepe is really
I don't know which one it was, 1, 2, or 3, but it was in the car when he was going to kill the guy. And so, yep, that's what happened.
Hey Diego, hey Princessia. Hey Diego, I'm just checking in. How are things working out with your now new secretary?
Hold on, Diego. Did I get the right
we're still struggling, but yeah, well, I mean, she's trying to show me that she